8th in his debut, only the 3rd pitcher in the last 100 years to do that. We mentioned Lagares out with a strain under his arm. First game he hasn't started, so Kirk Nieuwenhuis is in center field. Kevin Plawecki will catch Syndergaard in his debut, even though Johnny Manel caught 2 of his last 3 starts for Vegas.
Well, we showed in the first segment there about Jake Arrieta how better he's been as a Cub. None better than here at Wrigley Field, where he's 10-4 in 21 starts as a Cubby. Those are his Toyota numbers. And the defense is going to be brought to you by Coors Light. Chris Coughlin in left field, the ex-Marlin, Dexter Fowler, and Jorge Soler in right field. Infield, young and talented. Chris Bryant, Starlin Castro, Addison Russell, and Anthony Rizzo, the corner guys with home runs last night. And Miguel Montero from the Diamondbacks, now a Cub behind the plate.
And Montero off to a very good start as well. Dilson Herrera sitting tonight.
Well, one of his biggest moments where the bases loaded. 2 great breaking balls to start the at-bat. But then Soler, I think, did a nice job to fight his way back. Took a couple of pitches down and worked the count to full. And Syndergaard came right after him with a good fastball. Just beat him. It was down the middle, but it had enough on it to get out of that inning.
Okay, Mom happy. Get right at it. Equally big out. Struck out Montero with 2 on to end the 5th. Now he's got Soler leading off in the bottom of the 6th. Game still scoreless. First pitch curveball is down for ball 1. Soler, Castro, and Coughlin 5, 6, and 7 in the Chicago batting order. Syndergaard at 85 pitches. And he falls behind Soler 2-0. Noah's last start was Thursday, so he's on his regular day. He went 8 innings against Albuquerque through 95 pitches. Struck out 8 in that game. Line to the center, and Soler's got a leadoff hit. Second hit of the night for Soler. The 3rd, will get the 4th for the Cubs.
That's amazing at this level. It doesn't matter how hard you throw. If you get behind in the count, the hitters turn it up a notch. And Soler right on that fastball away. Right back to the box.
Well, it's the first time all night the Cubs have gotten the leadoff man on against Syndergaard. Nobody throwing yet in the Mets bullpen. They're merely doing some loosening up exercises as Starlin Castro steps in. Castro is struck out and flied out 0 for 2. And he takes just off the inside corner. Chris Coughlin, the number 7 hitter on deck, the pitcher's spot behind him. Castro takes a strike. Starlin Castro at age 25, 881 career hits. There's your JetBlue 6th inning recap. It's been all about the pitchers tonight. Syndergaard in his debut and Arrieta both have been wonderful on a cold night in Chicago. 1-1 to Castro. Fouled away.
Castro's the definition of a free swinger. One of those guys that can hit the pitch out of the zone sometimes. Good bad ball hitter.
0 for 6 in this series so far. Soler at first, not a fast man, and Syndergaard wants a conversation with Plawecki before they throw the next one to Castro.
In fact, today's the birthday of maybe the best bad ball hitter of all time.
That's true. Yogi Berra, 90 candles today, and all the best, Yogi. What a magnificent player he was. And you know, people forget sometimes just what a great player he was. Forget about all the quotations and all the the cuteness of Yogi Berra. He was a magnificent baseball player.
Magnificent baseball player, and I don't know. I feel like he's a gem of Americana. You know.
Went to the All-Star game 15 consecutive years. 2-2 to Castro, ripped down the left field line. That'll go all the way to the corner. Soler racing for third. Kadire trying to get to it. Soler being waved home, and he'll score the first run of the night. An RBI double for Starlin Castro. 1-0 Chicago.
Well, he tried to come in a couple of times, and this is really the first curveball that he hung over the middle of the plate, and Castro didn't miss it. Interesting, Wrigley Field, it's deeper in the corners than it is in the alleys. So once that ball goes down the line, it travels a great distance, which allows Soler to score.
353 feet to that corner. Just the second double of the year for Starlin Castro, his 20th run batted in. And so Syndergaard is finally dented. Two hard hit balls to start the inning. Soler with a hard single to center. And then the double by Castro drives him in. Alex Torres is going to get up in the Mets bullpen.
Takes your pitchers on a night like this in relief a little longer to get ready.
So now Coghlan, the number 7 hitter, he's drawn an intentional walk, and then he was robbed of a hit on a beautiful diving catch by Kadire his last time up. It is almost impossible, history tells us, for a visiting pitcher to win his debut at Wrigley Field. There have been 41 of them who have made their debut here, and only 4 have gotten a win.
Wow.
Most recently, Brett Myers in 2002. Jason Isringhausen made his big league debut here for the Mets in '95 and pitched wonderfully, but got a no decision. 0-2 to Coghlan. Of course, the most star-crossed first ever start at Wrigley Field belonged to the Mets' Tim Leary in 1981. A very cold day. He lasted just 2 innings, hurt his arm, and didn't pitch in the big leagues for another 2.5 years.
Yeah, my good friend and roomie, Tim Leary. When he used to throw on the side, his stuff was so good, other pitchers would watch him throw.
Syndergaard ahead 0-2 on Coghlan. Couldn't get him to chase. 1-2.
I think Timmy's best year was with the Dodgers in '88. I think he won 17 or 18 games.
Count is 2-1 on Coghlan. And he crashes one to deep right field. Back goes Granderson near the wall, and it's out of here. Chris Coghlan with a 2-run homer, his 4th of the year. And the Cubs have put up a 3 spot against Syndergaard here in the 6th inning. Nothing Chicago.
Well, I said it last night. Is it me or is it Chris Coghlan always seemed to get big hits against the Mets? Not a home run hitter, not known as one anyway, but got all of this.
Well, he had been struggling coming into the series. Had 2 hits last night, and now his 4th home run of the year. So a single, double, and home run off Syndergaard to start the 6th inning, and it's 3-0 Cubs. Now the pitcher Arrieta takes a strike. Arrieta's been up twice, struck out both times. So Noah Syndergaard, who pitched 5 very healthy innings, finds a wall here in the 6th. About to throw his 100th pitch of the night, which will match the most he's thrown this year. Alex Torres ready to go in the bullpen, and he may be called upon momentarily. Syndergaard just trying to get the first out here in the 6th inning, ahead on Arrieta 1-2. Still throwing hard, 98 miles an hour.
Ricky Bonas, the bullpen coach, just signaled to the bench that Alex Torres is ready.
due to retreating over near the tarp, and that'll go back in the crowd. That wind really blowing the ball over that way from left toward right.
Yeah, that ball started, just in foul territory and then ended up 6 or 7 rows back. You called it, Gary. The wind's changing a little bit.
A little more in from left field toward the first baseline now than it was earlier in the game. Arrieta watches wide, and now it's a full count. Syndergaard has walked 4, one of those intentional. He struck out 5, given up 2 runs and 6 hits, and this almost undoubtedly will be his last batter. And 102 pitches for the night. And Arrieta down swinging for the first out of the inning, and here comes Terry Collins, and that'll be all for Syndergaard. 6 strikeouts in his big league debut, but he cracked a little bit here in the 6th inning, and he will leave trailing in this game 3-0. So Noah with every right to be proud of his big league debut. Mets couldn't get him any runs, and the Cubs finally broke through here in the 6th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 3-0 Chicago in the 6th. Well, he's got the first one under his belt through 5 scoreless innings, gave up 3 runs in the 6th, and Noah Syndergaard's big league debut has come to a close.
I think both you and I were impressed, even through that 6th inning. Just in one of those duels with Arrieta.
Addison Russell greets Alex Torres and fouls back the first pitch fastball. It's been a struggle for Alex throwing strikes lately.
Well, his best pitch is his changeup, almost like a screwball. And when he's throwing it for strikes, he's awfully tough. 7 walks in 10 2/3 innings.
First batter's been a big concern. Gave up a 4-pitch walk to his first batter in his last outing Sunday in Philadelphia. Russell was 0 for 2, grounded out and fouled out. Dexter Fowler on deck, 1 out and nobody on. Cubs with 3 runs home in this 6th inning. Soler with a singles. Castro doubled in the first run, and then Coghlan with a 2-run homer. And Russell flies one down the right side. That'll go foul and out of play. Addison Russell, just 21 years old, 2nd youngest position player in the major leagues, behind
Dilson Herrera.
Dilson Herrera. Acquired last summer in the deal that sent Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill to Oakland. First round pick by the A's just 3 years ago out of high school. Here he is in the big league. Torres almost hits him in the knee. 2-2.
I mean, most of baseball was shocked when Russell was traded. Just didn't think, he thought he was an untouchable.
You never know with Billy Beane.
Right?
He traded for Samardzija and Hamill, and now he has neither of them. Good changeup by Torres to strike out Russell. So this time he gets his first batter out, and that's the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, he's got great arm action on this changeup. It's like a fade away.
Buddy Holly.
Christy Mathewson, didn't he call his changeup a fade away?
I guess Buddy was not fade away.
That's right.
2 out and nobody on. Now Dexter Fowler, who's 0 for 3, struck out and flied out twice against Syndergaard. Well, the Cubs came limping into this series, having lost 7 of 9 and struggling particularly with their pitching. But they've gotten just enough pitching so far in this series. Last night, John Lester wasn't great and beat himself up after the game, but good enough to get a win. And tonight, Arrieta has held the Mets in check through 6.
Yeah, he was fighting himself last night, was John Lester, and fighting with the umpire, Andy Fletcher.
He said after the game that he was, well, he said, terrible, that he just needs to be better. When you can be terrible and get a win, it's a good day. Fowler flies one foul, and it's 1-2. Well, those are four teams that have struggled through a number of years. The Mets, the Cubs, the Twins, and the Astros. And combined, they have taken major steps forward this year.
Twins may be the best team in May so far.
With the ageless Torrey Hunter on a great streak. And the resurgent Mike Pelfrey, a big part of their rotation. Who had Big Pelf as the comeback player of the year.
And the Twins have a lot of young talent coming up to the big leagues, like the Cubs. A lot of young everyday players.
True. The Astros, too.
Yeah.
They just promoted their terrific young shortstop, Carlos Correa, to AAA. Full count to Fowler.
That's Murph's ready position. He's doing kind of the karaoke there to get to the third base line.
I don't think you ever want to cross your feet
no.
like that, do you? 3-2 to Fowler. Bryant would be next. And Torres misses badly for ball 4. Some of the walks, which were a big concern for Torres in the past and something that he had avoided early in his tenure with the Mets, really jumping up now, and now he's going to face Bryant with a man on.
But it's something that's always been a problem for Alex his entire career.
So 2 out and a runner at first. Now Bryant, who has 2 hits tonight, an infield single when Murphy took his time on a throw, and then he slammed a triple off the wall and right, his first big league triple. Fowler a threat to go. He's got 8 steals this year, after stealing only 11 all of last year with Houston.
Lucky threw him out in last night's game.
Bryant takes the changeup up and away for ball 1. The time Bryant was retired tonight, it was on a line drive to center field. So last night he had a home run, and then the Mets pitched very carefully to him the rest of the night. He walked a couple of times. It's easy to forget that Bryant is only 23. He was a college kid who came very quickly to the big leagues after being the 2nd overall pick in the draft, and looks like a very mature player at a very young age.
Think about it. Last night hit a ball 94, 95 from DeGrom inside into the bleachers, and tonight one on the outside corner from Syndergaard at 96, 97. Hit it off the right field wall.
Now Torres behind him, 2-0. Bryant takes a rip at a changeup, and it's 2-1.
Figures he's going to get a fastball. He doesn't from Torres. 2-0.
Yet another one. It's 2-2.
Gee, the crowd all sighing as he swings and misses.
Bryant wearing the number 17, a very special number in Cubs history because that's the number Mark Grace wore. But for Bryant, he wears it because it's the number his dad wore in the minor leagues in the Red Sox organization.
His dad never made it to the show, right?
No, just a couple of years in the low minors. But his son certainly has. 2-2. A full count to Bryant with Rizzo waiting on deck.
You read a lot of interesting things when you read about Bryant. Read that he doesn't like to lift a lot of weights. He likes to work on his baseball instinct kind of things. That's refreshing to hear.
Well, he's not heavily muscled. He's long and lean. Has tremendous natural power. Fowler will be on the move. 3-2, 2 out. Payoff from Torres. It's fouled off. Number 1 pick in the draft in 2013 was Mark Appel, taken by Houston, and he has had nothing but problems.
A Stanford pitcher.
Bryant, the number 2 pick in the draft out of the University of San Diego, and right now that's looking like the better choice. Interesting that Duda is not playing behind the runner here, as you generally will in these situations.
I think that's just someone falling asleep at the wheel. He should be behind Fowler.
Three-2 from Torres to Bryant. And it's too high, ball 4. Another 3-2 changeup that misses. Back-to-back walks issued by Alex Torres. And this is becoming a troubling pattern. Now he's got to face Anthony Rizzo with 2 men on. Normally you'd say, well, you know, he's working around the right-hand hitter to get to the left-hand batter, but it's really not Torres' game.
His strength is the right-handed hitters.
So Sean Gilmartin will get to work in the Mets bullpen. This game could get away from the Mets if it hasn't already. Down 3-0 in the 6th. 2 men aboard for Rizzo, who's the 8th man up in the inning. Fowler at second, Bryant at first. Rizzo tonight has grounded out and walked twice, all of that against Noah Syndergaard, who started this 6th inning, and Torres having a rough time trying to finish it. 2 on and 2 out. And Rizzo takes low and in. Ball 1. And the Mets have had so many hits to their bullpen. Josh Edgin, Bobby Parnell, Vic Black, Jerry Blevins, Henry Mejia. Buddy Carlisle was the latest who might have to go on the disabled list. Hurt his back last night. Mets will know in the next day or two whether he needs to be DL'd. And well, they've had so many guys fill in and do a nice job, but at some point you start to wonder whether this bullpen can avoid a breakdown without some of those injured players returning. Fortunately, Parnell started his rehab last night. Vic Black's going to start his on Sunday, but they're not here yet. Two and one to Rizzo.
Torres is looking in on home plate umpire Jerry Meals, but you can't really question calls when they're close because you're not throwing enough strikes.
Rizzo hits left-hand pitching extremely well. Batting here with 2 out and 2 on. And now it's 3-1. Mets as a staff have issued the fewest walks of any pitching staff in the National League. So this is an aberration for Terry Collins, having to watch Alex Torres struggle to throw strikes. Sometimes you just have to hide your head. Big spot here for Rizzo, ahead of the count, 3-1. And he walks. So 3 consecutive walks by Alex Torres, and ball 4 wasn't even close. And well, it's not Terry Collins going out to the mound, it's Dan Warthen, so apparently Torres is going to get one more batter.
You almost feel like it's got to be a little psychological for Torres now to be at this level and not be able to throw a ball close to a strike on a 3-1 count. Unacceptable.
Well, Miguel Montero is going to come to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 out, with a chance to do some heavy damage. Net pitchers have now walked 7 tonight. They walked 6 last night, but Again, that's been an aberration this year. But it's funny. You said coming into the series, Ronnie, this umpiring crew tends to call fewer strikes than most, and it really has worked out that way. Whether it's been incorrect in terms of their calls or not, it's been the way the series has gone. So a moment of truth for Alex Torres after 3 straight 2-out walks. He faces Miguel Montero, the 9th man up in the inning. Montero has grounded out, walked, and struck out 0 for 2. Knee-high fastball for a strike. Fowler at third, Bryant at second, Rizzo at first with 2 out. A half inning that's gone almost a half hour. It's a bad ratio. Ball and a strike to Montero. Jorge Soler, who began this inning with a base hit against Syndergaard, is now out on deck. One to Montero, and he foul tips that one. 1-2.
Just missed that changeup, did Montero, like he was sitting on it. Had a big swing for a little guy.
Torres with a chance to get through the inning. Ahead 1-2 on Montero. Grounded to the right side. Flagged by Duda, but he has no play. Fowler scores. The bases remain loaded. 4-0 Chicago.
Well, this is just a little inexperienced by Lucas, because see how he turns? He's trying to make that play at first. He shouldn't want to make that play at first. Make the play at second base. That's where your momentum's going. Just get it and throw it to the shortstop. That makes it a much easier play. There's no way you're going to get to this ball, fire it, and probably throw it correctly to Torres covering first base. Easier play at second.
So 4 runs are home in the inning, and now Jorge Soler will bat for the 2nd time in the 6th inning. Bases loaded, 2 out. Soler 2 for 3 tonight, led off this inning with a single to center. Well, the second infield hit that the Mets have given up tonight that could have been avoided with a little better play. Question is, was Flores there to take the throw from Duda had he decided to go that way?
Well, watch Alex Torres first. He gets over there with hustle. He would have been there, but it's a harder play. You want to make the play that's easier. So Torres would have been there, but Flores was there.
One and one to Soler. Torres misses 2-1. By the way, I thought as that ball rolled away from Duda that Bryant was going to make a break for the plate and try and score a second run on that play, but he thought better of it. We've already seen his base running instincts. Bryant at third, Rizzo at second, Montero at first. This will be the 50th pitch of the inning. Thrown by a Met. And Soler takes inside, 3-1. So now Torres has already walked 3 in a third of an inning, in danger of forcing a run. Sean Gilmartin continues to warm up. This is turning into a nightmare inning for Torres and the Mets. Three and one to Jorge Soler, and he rips one foul. Broke his bat in so doing.
Broke his bat on that 3-1 changeup.
Bryant, Rizzo, and Montero, the base runners. They'll all be moving with 3 and 2 and 2 out. I'd like to be an outfielder standing out there in the freezing cold this entire inning. Just trying to stay warm. He's a Chicago native, Curtis. 3-2. And Soler bounces that one foul.
You know, I think that's one of the things I didn't discuss is that, you know, Duda did not come up with that play. It was a hard play, not an easy play. But when you're standing out there that long, those kind of plays are not made.
Well, they'll try and stay on their toes on 3 and 2. Soler swings and misses, and Alex Torres finally puts the inning to bed. His second strikeout, but the Cubs send 10 men to the plate and they score 4. 3 off Syndergaard and 1 against Alex Torres. 4-0 Cubs after 6.
The shame Forest won out at the hole.
Very dapper looking Eddie Vedder, helping sing the 7th inning stretch, taking out the ball game.
Who's a better man than Eddie Vedder? You know what's funny? The last time I was in Chicago, I think Eddie Vedder sang the song in the 7th inning also.
So he's singing it for you,
no, not at all. Please, I wish I knew him. Love his music. Love their music.
Sean Gilmartin will pitch for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th, facing Starlin Castro to lead off. Castro had an RBI double to bring in the game's first run in the 6th. Drilled one down the left field line to chase home Soler from first base against Noah Syndergaard, who had shut the Cubs out to that point. Ball and a strike to Castro. Syndergaard went 5 1/3 in his debut, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a home run. Alex Torres, 2/3 of an inning, a run, a hit, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. It was an eventful 2/3 of an inning. Between Syndergaard and Torres, the Mets threw 53 pitches to 10 batters in that 6th inning, and the Cubs scored all 4 of their runs. Meanwhile, the Mets offense has been helpless against Jake Arrieta. Castro drills one to left center. Syndergaard, Nieuwenhuis over in the gap, can't get to it, and Castro pulls into second base with his second double of the night.
Well, like you said an inning ago, Gary, only had 1 double on the season. Now it's hit 2 in a row.
If you're just joining us, Kirk Nieuwenhuis playing center field because Juan Lagares has a strained muscle under his right arm that he suffered a week ago making that diving catch at Citi Field, and it's been bothering him more and more, and the Mets will hold their breath and hope it's nothing serious and it's just a day or 2. Now Matt Caesar is going to bat for Chris Coughlin. Caesar, who came off the bench last night and grounded out in his only at bat. Pride of Cape May, New Jersey, and Villanova University. Batting for Coughlin, grounds one to the left side. Flores runs around it and throws out Caesar, 1 away. During tonight's game, you can get interactive with SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, featuring pitch-by-pitch coverage, player cards, and in-depth stats. Check out SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Well, Jake Arrieta is going to stay around. He's thrown 7 scoreless innings. He'll get his 4th turn at bat. He's gone 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts today. I think it's pretty much axiomatic now in baseball. If you're a pitcher and you get 4 at bats, you're having a great day.
Great day. Even if you've struck out every time you've been up.
No matter.
That's right.
You don't have to be Steve Avery. Well, your city probables for the remainder of the series. Matt Harvey goes for the Mets tomorrow night against Jason Hamill. Then the lefties on Thursday afternoon, John Neese and Travis Wood, before the Mets get home to play Milwaukee on Friday night. Two and one to Arrieta with Addison Russell on deck. Cubs now with 8 hits on the night. The Mets have had but 1. By the way, just for reference, the Mets have never been 1 hit in this ballpark.
Never.
Nor have they been no hits in this ballpark. But you probably knew that. But that's what Arrieta's working on tonight as he takes the turn at bat here in the 7th. 2-2 from Gilmartin. Struck him out. So the golden sombrero for Jake Arrieta. And he'll be proud of that if he can keep working on his 1-hitter. 2 out.
Just fastball away. Overmatched by Syndergaard, but just good spot there by Gilmartin.
So 2 out. Castro still at second, and now Addison Russell has gone 0 for 3. Gilmartin faced just 1 batter in last night's game, got Rizzo to fly out, being asked to work a full inning tonight. We were talking earlier about the Mets bullpen and how many people they've lost, and they've had to rely more on the Gilmartins and the Eric Goodell's and the Hansel Robleses, and they've all acquitted themselves rather well.
Well, remember, Gilmartin was the guy that was a starter his entire career. Because he's Rule 5, they had to fit him in the bullpen.
What Terry Collins said he liked best about these untested relievers is that even when they've sat for long stretches, they've been able to come in and throw strikes.
Especially Goodell and Robles. Some of these guys, young guys in the bullpen, they were closers when they were in the minor leagues. So
Gilmartin spotting that fastball nicely, and he gets ahead 1-2. Hit him 2-2. Well, remember A.J. Burnett had an awful year in Philadelphia last year?
yes.
Well, he returned to Philly tonight with the Pirates and pitched to Jet. He's been great.
Yeah, he has been.
As he was his previous stint in Pittsburgh. Pirates beat the Phillies 7-2. Burnett's ERA 1.60.
Obviously, he must have that breaking ball back.
Maybe he's not going to retire after all. 2-2 to Russell. Bounce foul. Also tonight, the Reds got a run in the bottom of the 9th to beat the Braves 4-3. Devin Mesoraco got the hit as a pinch hitter.
Wow.
Now he's going to need surgery.
Hip surgery, right?
Right. He can't catch, but they're keeping him on the roster just to pinch hit, and he got them a game-winning hit.
They've had some games also against American League teams too, so he could DH.
Right. Russell hits it toward the line. Long run for Granderson, and slicing away, and he can't get to it. In to score comes Castro. Pulling into second with an RBI double is Addison Russell. And the Cubs now lead 5-0.
Boy, this young talent has had an imprint in these first 2 games. Tough pitch to hit. Tougher one for Granderson to get to. There's nothing Granderson could do there. That ball just kept working its way away from him.
So Castro and Russell both doubling off Gilmartin here in the 7th to produce a run. Now 5-0 Chicago. Here's Dexter Fowler up for the 5th time. 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. He dribbles one back to Gilmartin. That retires the side, but the Cubs tack on a run in the bottom of the 7th. That's come to bat in the 8th. Now trailing the Cubs 5-0. He has faced just 21 batters in 7 innings. You can't do any better. given up 1 single and 2 walks, striking out 8. Duda struck out twice tonight, and quickly behind the count 0-2.
Even that single turned into an out as Granderson was thrown out at third base.
Wonder how this game might have been different had that not happened. Hansel Robles getting up in the Mets bullpen. For 5 innings, Noah Syndergaard matched strides with Arrieta before the Cubs got to him in the 6th. Duda lines one the other way, and he's got the Mets' 2nd hit of the night. So a leadoff single for Duda, and that'll get the Cubs bullpen active as Arrieta gave up a hit on his 100th pitch of the night. The former Cardinal and former Iona catcher Jason Mott is up in the bullpen. Here's Flores, who's 0 for 2, popped up and flied out. Arrieta threw 106 pitches in 5 1/3 in his last start. He's pitching into the 8th inning tonight at 100 pitches. And he comes inside to Flores, ball 1. Kirk Neuenhuis waits on deck. Offense has been hard for the Mets to come by. They had a breakout game on Sunday with 7 runs and 14 hits in Philadelphia. Or fewer, 10 of the last 13 games. Fortunate to be 6 and 7 over that span with some great pitching. A slider from Arrieta, 1-1.
You're right. That's where you score as little as that. You go 3 and 10 sometimes in that stretch.
Flores lines one the other way. He's got himself a base hit. Duda will go 1st to 3rd as Soler gets it in. And so the Mets have something cooking here in the 8th inning. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. First time the Mets have gotten a runner as far as third base tonight. So Mott throwing a little harder in that Cubs bullpen as Kirk Neuenhuis comes to bat. Normally, Pedro Strop is the 8th inning guy. Hector Rondon the 9th. But with a 5-run lead, perhaps Joe Maddon's going to play it a little differently, with Mott getting ready here in the 8th. So here's Neuenhuis, who's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. And Arrieta throws a fastball for a strike.
Arrieta started the night throwing 94 miles an hour. He's still there at pitch 104.
It's a head on Neuenhuis, 0-2.
Difference this inning is that his ball's been up. You see Plawecki on deck. His curveball and fastball has been up in the strike zone.
Oh-2 coming. And Neuenhuis stays alive. Jeff Russell has joined Jason Mott in the bullpen. Russell, the once and now again Cub. So I was Brave last year, but the Braves let him go, and the Cubs picked him back up. Did I hear Giancarlo Stanton hit one out of Dodger Stadium?
Out of.
Willie Stargell, Mike Piazza. I think Stargell did it twice. Neuenhuis takes a call, 3rd strike. And that's 9 strikeouts now for Jake Arrieta. Let's check in with Michelle Yu in the studio for another game break brought to you by Ford. We say it, they play it.
Very nice. Way to go, Michelle.
1 out. Here's Kevin Plawecki, who's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2, and tries to lay off, but went around on the curveball. 0-1. Plawecki 1 for 5 in this series. Johnny Manel is out on deck to bat for the pitcher Gil Martin. Out to right field, tagging at third is Duda. Soler with the catch. Duda heading home. Soler makes the throw, not in time, and the Mets are on the board. Sacrifice fly for Kevin Plawecki gets the first Met run of the night. It's now 5-1.
Well, good hitting by Plawecki. Fastball up, hitting that ball to right field the whole way, and got it just deep enough to score Duda. Pretty good arm by Soler, right? One hop throw to the plate.
So now Johnny Manel will be the pinch hitter. This will be Manel's 4th at bat as a Met. He has a double, and he's hit into 2 double plays. And what all 3 of those at bats have in common? All bullets. Yeah. And Terry Collins has been extremely impressed with what he's seen from Manel. Terry said that when Manel was called up, he recognized what his role was going to be. He came to Terry and said, I'm going to be the best left-hand pinch hitter in the National League. How about that?
That's great.
And so far he has shown the ability to come off the bench and hit the ball hard.
Bronx confidence.
Well, you know, he's 29. He knows at this point in his career what his place is. He might get a chance to catch every once in a while, but he's here to hit. He hits this one in the air over toward the left field line. A long one for Caesar into foul ground. He can't make the sliding catch. Foul ball. And Manel will get another shot at it.
Well, this ball, see how he reroutes his course there because the wind knocked it down. He got there in time, but in going to the slide, he missed the play. Good hustle by Caesar.
Now, we've watched Johnny Manel a little in spring training and now through a few at-bats in the big leagues. And the guy that he reminds me of in terms of the way he swings the bat, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is Matt Stairs.
Yeah, no, great call.
He just opens up and finds the barrel of the bat to the ball.
Yeah, he's got the great hand-eye coordination, just wants to hit the ball hard every time. That's how Stairs was. Stiff front leg. The other thing he does that Stairs did, keeps that bat in the strike zone a long time, like drags it through.
1-2 coming. The curveball wraps around the plate. 2-2. You know, Arrieta out there for 113 pitches on a cold night. Joe Madden trying to get him through the inning. I would assume that if he doesn't get Manel, this will be his last batter. Mott appears to be ready to go. Tejada on deck. 2-2 coming to Manel. Bounces one foul.
You know, Joe Madden had some great horses he could go to when he was in Tampa Bay. A lot of great pitchers that he would push to go deeper into games. That might be what he's trying to do here, at least with his better pitchers, better starting pitchers.
Well, Arrieta making his 7th start. He's been over 100 pitches now in 6 out of 7. So they've shown no compunction about him going deeper into games. Flores at first and 2 out. And Manel pops one up. Coming back is Montero. But that'll be in the crowd. 115 pitches for Arrieta tonight. It's the 2nd highest total of his career. Russell the left-hander, Mott the right-hander, both ready to go. Meanwhile, Hansel Robles getting ready in the Mets bullpen to pitch the bottom of the 8th. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat from Arrieta to Manel. Johnny takes a call, 3rd strike. Good curveball by Arrieta to seal his night. 10 strikeouts for Jake Arrieta. He gives up a run in the 8th, but he's got a 5-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th in Chicago.
Back tonight. Harvey's going to have to be the stopper tomorrow. Been really impressed with Robles so far. Forget about the ERA. Strikeouts is nice, but legitimately good fastball with a lot of movement. Good slider.
Worked an inning in the third last night. Struck out a pair. He'll face Chris Bryant, his first man in the bottom of the 8th. Bryant has been on base 3 straight times, an infield single, a triple off the wall and right, and then a walk. So he's 2 for 3 tonight, 3 for 5 in the series with a triple and a home run. So you'd have to say he's made an impression. Well, we went into this series talking about the 2 major market teams that are both rebuilding on their own terms. Mets with dominant young pitching and Cubs with everyday players of great talent. And so far, the Cubs have had the upper hand.
What did Jed Hoyer say today that sparked a lot of controversy?
Well, he said there hasn't been a trade between the Mets and Cubs yet, but it will happen.
At some point in time, it's going to happen. You're right.
Well, we'll see. In the air to deep left field. Kadire takes a look, and that ball is gone. Chris Bryant strikes again. His 3rd big league home run, his 2nd in 2 nights. 6-1 Chicago. There was that sound again.
It's that sound, and a ball hit that high against the wind does not go out of this ballpark unless you're superhuman. It's the sound, and what's interesting is that all the fans here are totally into his at-bats, and the reaction was instantaneous when it hit his bat. That's the roar from a crowd that's anticipating him hitting a home run.
Rizzo drives one into right field, and he's got himself an extra base hit. So Rizzo aboard for the 4th straight time. And Robles being greeted rudely tonight. A home run and a double from the 1-2 punch of Bryant and Rizzo.
Well, you mentioned that Robles pitched an inning in the 3rd last night, and it shows tonight. Not as electric as stuff. And he's paid twice here in this inning.
Well, between them, Bryant and Rizzo have been on base 8 out of 10 plate appearances tonight. Now Miguel Montero, who had an infield hit to drive in a run his last time up. The thing about Bryant's home run, you mentioned it was against the wind. He came within a row or 2 of making it onto Waveland Avenue, which, you know, when the wind's blowing in, you don't see that.
No, I'm telling you, folks, you do not hit a ball that high out of this ballpark when the wind's blowing in. Cold night. Just don't do it.
Cubs have 7 extra base hits tonight. Montero loses his bat, and it goes helicoptering 15 rows deep. That could win him an Olympic medal. Hammer throw.
That's about as far as I've ever seen a bat thrown as Montero, hoping that didn't hurt anybody.
I think everybody's okay. The only question was who was going to get possession of the bat. 1-1 from Robles. It foul.
There used to be a time when the bat went into the stands. The person who got the bat would bring it back into play, and the hitter would use it, and they'd bring him up another bat.
Right, you trade. But now I guess hitters have much bigger stockpiles of bats.
Yes.
They can afford to lose one. Did you see that last night for the Braves, or for the Nats, Yunel Escobar had a 5-hit game, his 2nd 5-hit game of the year. Montero pops one up into shallow left, and Kadire is there. That's the first out of the inning. Anyway, after the 5-hit game last night, Yunel Escobar said he was going to retire the bat. Now, for most hitters, they get a 5-hit night. That bat is, it's going to be used a lot longer. But he decided that all the hits were gone out of the bat, and he retired it.
Wow. Never heard of that.
It's always been a little different.
Yeah.
One out, here's Soler, who's 2 for 4 tonight. It was Soler who got the 6th inning rally started against Syndergaard with a base hit to center field. Castro followed with a double for the game's first run, and Coghlan did a 2-run homer. And the Cubs have added on a run in the 7th and a run here in the 8th against the Mets bullpen. And Robles struggling behind 2-0.
Although you have to be impressed by the way Syndergaard pitched tonight until he got to the 6th. Gary, you and I were talking about it. You said before the first game, the good young everyday players of the Cubs against the good young pitching of the Mets. Well, they could have 2 losses in this series.
Murphy into foul ground, tracking it with a wind, and stays with it for the 2nd out. So Soler retired, 2 out. Here's your Cadillac drive around the majors. We mentioned A.J. Burnett against his former team. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Cardinals got Matt Carpenter back tonight and whacked the Indians 8-3. Best record in the majors at 23-9. We'll see the Cardinals on the next homestand. And the Nationals, who walloped the Diamondbacks last night, down 3-1 in the 4th. Ender Inciarte with a leadoff home run against Steven Strasburg tonight. Cardinals and Mets sitting on top of those flag standings. They've always got those flags in the order of the standings in the 3 divisions. Mets, Cardinals, Dodgers sitting on top. Castro a pair of doubles tonight. 2 for 4. Driven in a run, scored 2. Takes a big cut, fouls it back.
There's some very comfortable swings by these Cubs hitters. As they get around the league, the Mets pitcher is going to have to do a little better job of making these guys a little more uncomfortable. That means pitching in more, moving their feet.
To Castro. Rizzo at second and 2 out. Flores to his right on the backhand. Throws out Castro to end the inning. Cubs had a run on the Chris Bryant home run. We go to the 9th at Wrigley Field with the Mets down 6-1.
My teammate in Oakland.
Russell moved from the Cubs to the Braves last summer, but the Braves let him go. Cubs picked him up on a minor league deal, and he's right back in the big leagues with Chicago, making his 5th appearance. Ruben Tejada leads off the 9th inning for New York. It was quite a night for Jake Arrieta. Through 116 pitches in 8 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. Arrieta's 5th career double-digit strikeout game, and a chance to get his first ever win against the Mets. Tejada hits one right through the originator and into center field for a leadoff hit. So the Mets trying to get something started in the 9th, and Tejada does that with his first hit of the night.
Well, this is what we've seen from Tejada of late, hitting the ball back up the middle. His strength.
So the Mets have their 4th hit of the night, and now Curtis Granderson, who's walked twice and struck out 0 for 1. Rizzo's going to play behind Tejada at first base. 3 infielders on the right side against Granderson. And Curtis pops one up. Castro makes the call and puts it away for the first down. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Postgame Live. Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa. All right, guys, here's Daniel Murphy, who's 1 for 3 on the night, and he takes outside ball 1. That's batting in the ninth, down 6-1. Colin McHugh's winning streak came to an end tonight. Giants beat him 8-1 in Houston. He won 11 in a row going back to last year.
11 in a row in 16 starts. ERA low 2s.
The Giants continue to keep their head above water. I'm not sure how they're doing it. Chris Heston got his 3rd win. It's come out of nowhere for them. I mean, it's not an even numbered year.
Yeah, right. Well, Tim Lincecum has learned to win again. He's not throwing like he used to in his Cy Young years, but much craftier.
And it looks like sometime in the next week or two they're going to get Hunter Pence back after he broke his forearm in spring training. Murphy drives one to left field. Caesar will have to play it on the hop, and Murphy has his 2nd hit of the night. So the Mets have a couple of men on in the ninth. And Michael Kadire coming to the plate.
Well, Justin Maxwell has done a pretty good job in right field for the Giants.
He'll be a nice extra outfielder to have once Pence comes back. Giants were also 9-3 in 1-run games this year. That helps. So Russell's given up a couple of hits here in the ninth. The Mets only had 1 hit in the first 7 innings. They got a couple against Arrieta in the 8th, 2 more here in the ninth. And now Kadire, who's 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes the breaking ball in the dirt for ball 1. After the post-game show tonight, it's Geico Sports Night. Rangers Caps Game 7 tomorrow night. And Carlin doesn't go for the deep dish. You know, you have to have respect for all pizza, Chris. Victor Rondon, the closer, lightly throwing, hoping he won't need to be used.
It's the deep dish place here. Gino's East is what they call it.
There's a number of good ones around town. And, you know, it's a local delicacy.
Yeah.
Nobody's, you know, just because you like deep dish Chicago style pizza, it really doesn't negate your love of New York style.
That's right.
Pizza. There's a place for love of all pizza.
Right.
2-2 to Kadire with Lucas Duda on deck. Tejada at second, Murphy at first. Two from Russell. And that's strike 3 called, and Kadire not happy about that. 2 out.
Well, Kadire doesn't argue very often. 6-1, 9th inning. Russell gets the call.
Well, he saw that as low. May or may not have been, but the Mets are down to their final out with Lucas Duda coming up. Duda 1 for 3, scored the only Met run after singling to left his last time up. So the Mets, who got swept a 3-game series here last year, in danger of losing their 5th straight game at Wrigley Field. Flores would be next. Russell trying to finish it off for Jake Arrieta, who was tremendous tonight for 8 innings. But he's behind on Duda now, 2-0. One more base runner for the Mets would create a save situation for Rondon. It's no guarantee Joe Madden would go to him in that spot with a 5-run lead, but if he did and Rondon got 1 out, he would qualify for a save. Two and out to Duda. And Lucas swinging and fouls it back.
Amazing sometimes how these relievers pitch into a jam to allow the closer to come in. Certainly Russell's not trying to do that.
John Mayberry staying ready just in case he's needed. 2-1 to Duda. And he fouls it away, and now the Mets are down to their final strike. Lucas homered off a lefty last night. And 2 of his 3 home runs this year now have come against lefties. That's as many as he hit against the left-hander all last season in his 30 home run year. 2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Duda. Lucas goes down swinging, and that'll do it. Russell finishes his inning with back-to-back strikeouts, and the Cubs have taken the first 2 of the series. Strong pitching by Jake Arrieta, big hitting by Bryant and Rizzo, and the major league debut of Noah Syndergaard spoiled in a 6-1 Chicago win.
Well, I still think it was an impressive debut by Noah Syndergaard, and that was the new story. But the old story for the Mets continues the same, and that is having a hard time scoring any runs. And the Cubbies take the first 2.
And the Mets struck out 12 times tonight. The first 10 for Jake Arrieta, who gets his 4th win of the year and his first ever against the Mets. As Joe Madden's team has taken the first 2 of this series. Mets are now 20-13 on the year. Syndergaard 5 scoreless innings, but gave up 3 runs in the 6th, and that gets him a loss in his first major league start as the Cubs beat the Mets tonight 6-1.